Hello everyone and welcome back to my second episode of my Demon Souls playthrough. This is End Level Boss, and this is my character Sen, who I'm primarily going to spec as a mage, spellsword type character. And this is the Crestfallen Warrior.
You've gone and died, have you? If you die here in Boletaria, your soul is returned to the Nexus. Well, what'll you do next? Going to just give up? That's what I did. I think I just lost my nerve for this kind of thing.
So somewhere his body is rotting away.
I'm Stockpile Thomas. When the scourge came, I didn't know what hit me. When I came to, I found myself here, in the Nexus. My wife and daughter fell victim to the demons. But I would be worthless in battle. At the very least, I hope to lend my assistance to you brave slayers of demons. I would be happy to lighten your load and look after any excess baggage. Best of luck.
So you'll remember we got an item in Boletaria 1.1, the first, very first area we played. And what I'm trying to do is to get that dialogue to happen here, where he notices this hairpin that we found. So he mentions his wife and daughter, and this jade hair ornament actually belongs to his daughter. And for some reason I was having trouble, I think because I hadn't maybe deposited anything, or that I wasn't hitting talk from the menu.
But I am ignorant of the world beyond these walls. Best of luck to you. That hairpin, that belongs to my daughter. Then she didn't make it after all. My dearest little baby. May she rest in peace. May I ask you a favor? Would you mind giving up that hairpin? I'd like to have it in memory of my daughter. You're a saint.
So Stockpile Thomas is
Thank you.
somewhat, you could call him a coward in some respects, although
I mustn't forget.
you know, it's pretty harsh,
It's
but
not
that's
much, but
that's what it came
please
down to.
accept
He pretty
this
much
as
abandoned
thanks.
his wife and daughter in fear of
I'm
the
a bit
demons.
ashamed to say, but I found it one day, discarded.
The only silver lining to that is at least he feels
seems
guilt
to
around that,
possess a
but
strange
still,
power.
it did not help his wife and daughter
I feel
from
that you should have
being
it.
killed and
It will
strung
be
up.
happier in your hands.
And the other silver lining is giving him back that hairpin allows us to get this ring he found, which is actually a pretty useful ring. The Ring of Herculean Strength, which raises our maximum item burden, which can be very important when you're in the middle of a stage and you finally find yourself overweight, so you can still pick up an item. So here I'm deciding where to go to next. We can either continue on in Boletarian Palace, or we can go to the Archstone of the Burrow King and to Stonefang Tunnel. But what I actually want to do is go to a little bit more difficult area from the get-go, and that would be the Archstone of the Shadowmen. And that's because there's two items I really want to get early in the game. One of them is the Crescent Falchion, which is really good for a character who is highly spec'd in magic, because it scales with your magic. And I also want to get the Compound Longbow, even though I won't be able to use that for quite a while, as it does have a 22 strength requirement. So for new players, you normally probably wouldn't come here right off the bat, or if you did happen to come here, you'd quickly realize that this area is fairly difficult. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this area to new Souls players, as it can be. These guys are no joke, these skeletons. But if you have your parrying and riposte timing down, it's survivable for sure. And as well, if you're playing a mage character and you have soul arrow, you can shoot them from a distance. I'm not choosing to do that primarily, although at points I will use it if necessary. But I just I prefer to sharpen my skills with the blade, as this is going to be a mixed character, like a spell sword, as I'm calling her. So I'll be using primarily magic and and melee combat. So whenever you can, parry, riposte them, or punish them with a backstab if you can. Now here I went back to show you an NPC that you can see up there on that ledge. That's Satsuke. And you have to mess around with the world tendency in order to get him to come down from there. And we will do that later in the playthrough, and at that point I'll talk more about that character. So here, you notice you've got one bowman of these demon skeletons, and then you've got another melee one. It's good to lure the one way back so the archer can't pelt you with his arrows. So again, my character is still soul level 1. The royalty starts out at the lowest soul level, but regardless of that, they start with both the soul arrow spell and the fragrant ring, which more than makes up for the fact that they're soul level 1. So I like to run up along this side ledge to avoid that little barricade he's got, and then send him off the cliff. Now you'll notice up these steps we have 2 more of these Shadowman spirit that have inhabited these skeletons. So you want to be really careful if you're particularly low level when you're fighting these skeletons, because that rolling move can damage you as they're rolling, and also take off your stamina. And you want to watch that double-handed swipe move. That you can't block like a normal move, and I almost got taken out there by it. Now you'll notice too on the skeletons on their chest, they have a really cool, there's almost like a cow's head or a horse's head on their chest plate, which is what I'm trying to show here. I don't know that I'm at the best angle though for it. There you can see it, which I think is really cool. I mean, they're not your normal skeletons. They're kind of like this samurai armor skeleton. I mean, they're total heavy metal. I mean, Demon Souls in general is pretty heavy metal, awesome. But yeah, I really love the design on these guys. And there I just got impatient and a little magic mixed in. So we've cleared them out. Now you'll notice 2 archers up top there firing down from the walls. I look at them and I pretty much just said shoot me. I don't know what I was thinking there, why I didn't wait for him to shoot and then get that item, but anyway, a couple arrows sticking out of me for a while. And I love that these arrows will stay in for a good chunk of time, and then eventually they will disappear. Now here is a Talisman of God. This will allow you to cast miracles within the game. So if you're not a faith class, if you don't start out as one of those right away, that's where you can first get a talisman in order to use miracles. Now you'll notice that glowing spot on the ground that I just triggered is a trap which sends those bolts at you, so you want to be careful of that. And then up here, in addition to those 2 archers, we also have another regular melee demon skeleton. And I'm not going to fuck around with him. I'm just going to bring him my way. So I pulled him with the soul arrow. And parry riposte. And these guys also drop soul remains, which is that's another benefit of coming here early, is to grab some of these soul remains, because they're very useful in this game. You can use them to distract enemies to chase after the soul remains instead of you know, basically using them as a diversion. And there I put a little turpentine on my sword just because I didn't want to risk dying at that point, and plus it's cool to flame on these guys. But kind of a waste. That was a little overkill. I didn't really need to do that. There you'll notice another glowing stone tablet that if you step on it, and somehow I forgot that that actually is different than the other one. It fires out in a spread arc, and that's how I got hit there. So I'll definitely remember that for next time. I was thinking I forgot that it fired out in that arc. So here I picked up the copper key, and this is a key we'll need for later on in the level. So that's why I started over here to get that. And then here, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I missed something else, and I backtracked back down, but clearly I had gotten the only thing of importance over there, which is that key. And you can actually do a roll off the side here and get to another area, which is kind of like a shortcut back by where I got the key, but I don't really want to do that right now, as that's not what I'm here for. I'm primarily here to get, like I said, the Crushing Falchion, which I'm about to get here, and then hopefully the Compound Longbow. Now you want to be really careful in this area I'm in right now, as there is a dual wielding katana demon skeleton who is no joke. I mean, he can one-shot you with a couple of different moves, especially being at a soul level 1. So I'm not going to attempt to kill him right now. I just want to get that item that you can see on the edge of the drop-off there. So I cut that one a little bit close, but I got the item I wanted, and I'm out of there. And I'm going to equip it right away. You can see that the damage on it is much greater than what I had. It's I believe around close to the 180 mark, which is great this early in the game. It also, the other nice thing about it is it has, in addition to having an A rating for its magic scaling, which is very good, the best scaling is, you know, A being the best. I think the lowest is an E scaling, and then I believe there's even S scaling, which is, I guess that would stand for super or something, but that I believe is the best. I believe there's S. If there is an S in this game, A then is the highest. So that will scale the more points I put in into my magic stat. So here you'll notice that this is a recycled mini boss from the very beginning of the game. That, you know, in a way it's a shame they reuse them, but it's also in a way nice on the other hand, because, you know, most players will have been killed by him when they first play the tutorial. So this is kind of your chance to get revenge on him, and also to get the item, the colorless demon soul that he drops. So there you can see another trap which I've triggered. And you want to be very careful in these tunnels. You don't have great visibility, and you don't have a lot of room to evade any enemies in here. And you can see that wall kind of shimmering like water. Yep. So that's like a mirage there. And since I've come around the back way, or another way of coming here, now I could have tried to backstab him, but I didn't want to pull the guy that's in front of him. So I back up, and I do take this guy out with soul arrows, because at this point I don't want to mess around. I want to get what I came for and get out of here. So you'll notice the other guy that I didn't want to risk pulling down at the end of the tunnel. I'm waiting until I can get in range, and I'm just taking him out with soul arrow, because again, I don't want to mess around. I'm just here to get that item, and I don't want to have to play through all those other skeletons, so taking the easy route for those two guys. And now here we meet another fun NPC. We use the copper key to get into this area. This is Grave Robber Blige, and he's a pretty colorful salesman here.
Whew, you saved me. Heavens, I can't believe I fell for that trap. I suppose I owe you now. I'm Grave Robber Blige. As thanks, I can provide you with useful goods. Who couldn't do with a little help down in these parts? This shrine was used in a ghastly ritual by an ancient tribe. They've long perished, and now demons have put the souls to work. At least here you're killing things that are already dead, like skeletons and shadow lurkers. That's what I like about this place. Better than killing those poor, soul-starved humans, right?
So here I buy a little bit of extra fresh spice and a couple of the soul remains, or at least one I grabbed there. He also has sticky white stuff, which is a really great buff for your weapons, but at 5,000 souls I don't need to buy it at this point. Buy some extra healing grass items, and then we should be good to go. I hope he didn't feel obliged to sell me these items. Alright, and I do buy the leather armor because it is better than what I have.
Satisfied.
And I like the look of it as well. Although I do like the royalties outfit that she starts with here. It's pretty cool. But I do prefer the leather, so I bought the leather chest item, and then I believe I go back here to buy the pants as well. And what I'm also trying to make sure is that I still have my fast roll, because throughout this playthrough, and in general when I play Demon Souls, I prefer to have the fast roll.
I'll have more for you next time.
In Demon Souls, of all the Souls games, it's by far, I mean, your invincibility frames when you're rolling seems to me the most, the most powerful, or the most invulnerable. When you're doing that fast roll, I mean, it really puts you at a super distance too from enemies, and it looks cool. So it's always fun to have that. If you don't have the fast roll in Demon Souls, you pretty much just fall over. You hardly move at all, and you still have some invulnerability, but you only move such a small pace. Okay, so now going through this other way. We're looking for the second item we came here so early in the game to get, and that is the compound longbow. Now this area here around this corner can be tricky because there's not one, not two, but three, I believe, of the demon skeletons which will come down. So here I'm just getting rid of some of the extra items I have, so I just have the items I need, and as well as I was just talking about these soul remains, I'm going to use these as a diversion if possible. But see, there he is right away. I was hoping that I wouldn't aggro him the second I hit that wall. So there I throw the soul remains, and you can see him attacking that. I'm able then to get to the side of him. I was hoping for a backstab, but unfortunately did not get it, so I try again with the soul remains. Came after me though, as I was closer. Or he just happened to hit me trying to hit the other, because we are in an enclosed space, so this isn't exactly the best spot to use it, but still. So there he kind of landed on my shoulders, and there he did the double swipe, which completely took away all my stamina. And then, so having to dodge him, so there he's doing his fancy cartwheels, and he was almost going to hit me again with the two-handed. So a little tricky, but not unmanageable. So up these steps, there's a third swordsman, and I wasn't going to mess around with him. I just cut him to shreds. So we've got two different pathways we can take. Down this walkway that I'm going to go to, and again with the thief's ring on, if I slow down my pace. And while this guy's taking a smoke break, no, sorry buddy. We're going to give him a backstab and get our second item we came for, which is the compound longbow with some light arrows. Now the compound longbow requires, it has a high strength requirement of 22 and 12 dexterity. So I believe I have enough dex to use it, but not enough, certainly not enough strength, and not for a while. But I eventually will, since I'm gonna put some strength in this character. So yeah, even at two hands, I have an ability shortage. But I did want to get it because I know I want to use it, and probably earlier than I may be coming here. And anyway, as long as I'm coming for the wand, I might as well get that. It's not that much more to get it. So these Augites of Guidance you can drop to light your way.
Scary, give Sparkly me. Give Twinkly me. Me. You.
So this is the first of the famous crow or bird NPCs that are in the Souls series. These NPCs or characters, whatever you want to call them, you can actually drop items for them, certain items, and then reload your game and they'll leave other items for you. Now here I was debating whether to go after this lizard, and then he started to run, and that just made the decision for me, so I had to race down there and attempt to get him. And these guys can be tough because he can see me there. I'm like hitting the wall. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to hit him, obviously. But then I finally got my spacing on it and was able to get him, which I'm glad, because it's always annoying when you miss one of these guys. And I believe the Dark Moon Stone is the stone I need to level up along the path I want to. Or actually, it's the stone I need for this particular weapon. I'll have to double check on that. So anyway, that was as far as I wanted to go in the Shrine of Storms at a soul level 1. We could have moved on a little further and gotten some other items and attempted the first boss, but before that I just have a different area that I want to go to. I actually want to go to the Stonefang Tunnel now. So now that we got a much better sword and a very good bow, we're going to go back to the Nexus and go to Stonefang Tunnel next. And actually that's where most people would probably end up going to next. It's it's in the next progression up the steps from Boletaria Palace.
Here for my services. The name's Baldwin, just an ordinary blacksmith. It's simple. Just bring me all the souls you can. In trade, I'll give you weapons, or forge ones you already have. With your souls, I can eke out a living, and with my weapons, you can go on living. Not a bad deal?
So here we talk to Baldwin, the first blacksmith likely you'll talk to in the game. He can upgrade and repair your equipment, but just at the basic upgrades of your weapons. So here I'm just repairing some of my items, keep them in tip-top shape. And then here I was curious to see, how can I upgrade my crescent falchion. Just kind of looking over his items to see again what he has for sale.
I need your business.
So you can see that is the next one in up the stairs, and that's where most people would gravitate to.
Has God abandoned us for failing to show proper respect to King Alant? Oh, Mbasa. Back in the time that I lived below Boletaria Castle, King Alant left on some strange business, then returned with horrible demons in tow. Soon, the land was ravaged by demons and soul-starved madmen. My spine shudders just to think about it. If I did not have my miracle stone shard, a keepsake of my grandfather, I may not have survived.
So here, just trying to get some of the dialogue from some of the NPCs, the early game dialogue.
Disciple of God.
These characters here on the left side, as you're facing forward to the stairs, are all the faith NPCs.
We are both cut from the same cloth. A miracle is a heavenly act, but spells are the acts of demons, the work of soul arts. They have similar effects, and yet one is clearly evil and the other is clearly good. Magicians,
Clearly, huh?
in the end,
Not quite.
are mere servants of the demons.
But we'll come to learn more about how Faith gets its
I
power
pray we
later
meet
in the
again.
game. It is not as cut and dry
I have
as this
sinned.
character would have you believe.
I swore allegiance to Saint Urbain, but was of no use to him. And now I have run away and abandoned his honorableness.
So here we have another cowardly
Lord,
character
punish me, for I have not the
just
strength to
cowering
punish
in the
myself.
Nexus. I've got the strength to punish you. You coward! Alright, so here on the right side is where you will find the magic-based
Are you here
soul
to face
arts
the demons?
NPCs.
If so, please free Sage Frake the Visionary from the dungeon of Latria. I will help you however I can. I can teach you elementary spells. Sage Frake is a gleaming hope for humankind, but I have not the power to save him alone.
So here you can buy some of the early spells in the game. But at this point, I don't believe there's any of these that I need, except for maybe Flame Toss. And we'll save the souls for leveling up and whatnot.
Be careful how you use it. Normally, it would not be granted to one such as yourself. I had to make an exception for the sake of Sage Frake.
So he's teaching you these spells in the
What are you
hopes that
doing?
you will save Sage Frake. And this guy just, in general, pisses me off, so I gave him a little close shave there. But don't piss him off too much, or
Frake is a
he
great
will full
sage who
aggro on you.
systemized the magic of the soul arts to make it possible for human imitation. By observing the state of Boletaria and the demons within it, he's likely to pave the way for greater things. All the more reason that I must meet Frake as soon as possible.
So it's
I
interesting
see.
they're talking about
See
paving the
yourself.
way for greater things when, you know, all of Boletaria is in disarray. The colorless fog is sweeping in. People are essentially going mad and hollow, losing their minds. But still, he's holding out that Sage Frake is somehow has some master plan, which doesn't necessarily, from what he says, involve restoring the natural order. It's paving the way for something else, which is interesting. So now we are going to go to we've just gone through the Archstone of the Burrow King, and I went through that a little quickly. I'll read you what that Archstone says. Stonefang Tunnel 2-1, as it's sometimes referred to, is the city of the burrowers, keeper of the huge tunnel. Most of the stubborn excavators who supported the soldiers of Boletaria had their souls taken. Lacking their own will, they mindlessly continue working. And speaking of mindless, these little geckos are little SOBs. This guy's not too bad to get, but for me, when I first played through Demon Souls, these geckos were a source of frustration along with the world tendencies, because I didn't know on my first playthrough that they don't come back, and I didn't even realize they dropped the, you don't know until obviously you get some items from them that they are one of your chief sources of getting upgrade stones in the game. And once they're gone, they are gone until you beat another boss in the area, and then you get another crack at them. But if you miss them and they run away and they get away from you, then they're gone until again you get another cycle of it from beating one of the main demons. So those pricks from above are just continually lobbing boulders down at you, so you'll want to be careful and time that. It's very important to get that sticky white stuff there, as you can see from when we talked to Grave Robber Blige. it's very expensive to buy it at 5,000 souls a crack, at least early in the game. That's a lot of souls. So getting 2 right there is a huge boon to you early in the game, because it's just a great buff to your weapon. So if you turn that handle, it will operate this lift up to here. It's just an optional area, but I recommend coming up here. This is where you will likely first meet one of these fat ministers characters. You can hear them laughing at us. These guys are truly a-holes. They have a couple of different attacks. They've got some flame soul arts that they'll use on you, as well as they have the crescent axe there, which is fairly powerful as well. So I'm fighting fire with magic here and giving him a taste of his own medicine with some soul arrow. I should have switched to flame toss. Would have been a little more poetic justice, but still the end result was the same. So he did not drop the crescent axe there, but that is an item he can drop. Here I was trying to parry that guy, but didn't quite succeed, but that's alright. And you want to be careful here too. It's like I was trying to get it to trigger where I could get the item, but you have to actually be up there. Now that item there, the crushing battle axe, when it has crushing in front of it as part of the title, that means it's been upgraded along the path where it will scale with your strength stat. So if you are a strength user, that's a great weapon to come up here and get early in the game, the crushing battle axe. You need 11 strength to wield it, which is not too bad. If you're a strength character and you pick someone along those lines, you probably have 11 strength, or very soon will have 11 strength. So here, as we're taking our little elevator ride, you can see there in the distance some of the architecture there, whether that's a small outpost or the ruins of a castle. It's just pretty cool that they took the time to have that detail way in the background. It's not an area you can get to, but they could have just had a blank space there or more mountains. But it really adds to me the sense of immersion in the world of Boletaria here. And there's a lone tower too off to my character. I'm not panning to it right now, but there's another tower that's out in the distance too that you can look to, which is pretty cool. And I'll try and point that out the next time I go through this area. So here now you'll see here are all the mindless excavators. And the ones that have the glowing orange eyes, those are the ones who will aggro on you, regardless if you stab them in the back. This area is almost like your tutorial on how to backstab if you've never done it before. And you certainly do not need to kill all these guys. I like to clear them out, 1, because it's fun, and 2, when other enemies that can hurt me, these guys can get in the way because of the targeting. So sometimes when I'm trying to target something else, like a mad ravenous Cujo dog, sometimes you can accidentally end up targeting these guys, which is an annoyance. So I clear out some of them just to get them off the list of characters that are all here. So you see there, I'm trying to target the dog and it flips to that guy, not by my choice, but the dogs by themselves are not too much to worry about, but they can gang up on you, and because their moves are so are so fast, they can cut you down fairly quick. So anyway, there was another instance where the dog came out. I was trying to quick target him, but it flipped and went to one of these miners. And there, my timing was poor on my soul arrow. So you can see, like, you can go through huge chunks of this game and just use soul arrow. I'm not going to do that, as you've seen, but I will use it on this prick fat minister to get him down to where I can get up and just finish him off. because this guy can be a pain. And I haven't leveled up my character at all yet, so I didn't want to have to run that again in case he got a lucky shot with his flame. Now be careful here, there's an ambush waiting. There's a guy right a second you walk through there, this entryway. And it's difficult too unless you have a weapon that's a thrust weapon. That's why I just resorted to the soul arrow, because my weapon kept hitting the archway. I wasn't getting close enough. And you want to be careful also around this corner. So either let him hit you and retaliate, or you can of course try to parry riposte. But be careful coming up those steps, because those guys can, if you're this low a level, can pretty much one-shot you if they do the double-handed pickaxe swing. Here we get some healing grass. And I'm going to equip that, I believe, so that I'm not wasting all my upper level grass. And I really didn't need to heal that like 2 HPs. I don't know why I did that, but anyway. So there's the pickaxe. All the enemies in this character, or in this area, are susceptible to pierce attacks, which the pickaxe has. But the pickaxe is not nearly as good as my Crescent Falchion +1. Okay, so there you can see up on that ledge, there's another fat minister. But we're gonna wait to tackle him until we go up around the side here. So you can run across that walkway to get to him if you want, and engage in melee combat. Again, I'm gonna take the easy way out with this guy, because I'm just going to. I don't want to dick around with him. I want to be able to just run down that pathway. And since these guys use magic themselves, I don't feel any regrets to frying his ass with soul arrow. And those beams are sure convenient there to block some of his shots, so you can use that to your advantage. But also you can see coming down this area that there was a gate there that we could not get through. So here you'll want to run along the left-hand side. It will fall apart and there will just be that beam left. And Crescent Axe? Nope. But these guys consistently drop full moon grass, so you can farm them for that, which is nice. So there you can see that that phantom there pulling that lever. Now that's actually that's not another character, you know, like online. I'm playing offline right now. That's actually a phantom left by the developers as a hint to show you what to do. So, you know, one thing I just absolutely love about Demon Souls is the attention to detail on the world, and you know how everything, you know, even though, as I mentioned before, it's not as interconnected, the whole world, as Dark Souls, each area, each Archstone's area is so fully realized, and just the way things connect, the levels are very interesting. They have shortcuts. You know, they're really dark and grimy, and just, I mean, I just love the art design on it and the setup of pretty much every single level. Now I have my favorites, and I'll point those out as we get to them, but each and every one of them is fantastic. So, you know, one of the reasons why the Stonefang Tunnel is, you know, pretty much your natural, one of your natural progressions, even though you can, as you saw, I went right to the Shrine of Storms, even though you can go to, you know, any of these other areas, the reason why, you know, this one is, I guess, one of the more logical ones is, you know, one, for difficulty level, but two, this area is where you get a lot of the stones for upgrading along, you know your more basic paths of upgrades for your weapons. So it's you know, where you get some of those first items where you can start making your survivability chances much, a lot better by upgrading your equipment. So in general, you'll want to hit this place early on. So now, with turning that crank, which turned the wheel, now we can go through this the gate that's open and through the fog gate in front of that. So just all the moving parts in this, in this level is great. They've got mine carts moving. I mean, you really feel like you're in an excavation, like a giant excavation site, like something straight out of the Mines of Moria, or it's just really cool. There's little detail touches everywhere, and the placement of carts, it feels like a lived-in environment that's fully realized for what it's intended to be as well. And how everything is kind of built makeshift around how they're continually digging into the ground, such as everything's made from these wooden walkways that they're just built to be thrown up in quick succession to continue their work efforts to keep moving forward deeper into the earth. So you do not have to fight these flame geckos right away when you get here. I wanted the item that's over there, so I decided to take these guys out. And again, these are enemies which I don't mind giving them the soul arrow, because they are just meant to ambush you here. And there, I almost took it, but it's great when they miss though, because they will fall on their back, but they can still get you with their flame. And they're like the other geckos in that, like, sometimes you just won't hit them, unless you have a downward stroke. You can just completely whiff, missing them a lot. Luckily, I didn't do too badly there, but you can see I missed 2 or 3 times trying to get the hit off, and then that guy just took his head off. So yeah, it's just 1 shard of Dragonstone, but I felt like getting it. Now over to our right there, I don't believe I looked over there, but there's another path to our right, and you can see the smoke rising from it, the steam. That area is actually got a bunch of fire and lava over there, and unless you have very high fire resistance, you can't get through that area at this point. So your path is pretty much set on going this way with these guys with these long fire, fire swords, or these smelted weapons that they've obviously had in high heat. So good suggestion is to pull these guys. Now there you can see a barricade. If you don't, if you're a new player, you might not think to bust that down to go this way. You might just go to the left there at the obvious opening. But I would suggest first bust through that area and definitely come down here. Take these guys out. A lot of them will drop stones. So you can see getting a lot of upgrade items. Going back to what I was talking about earlier, that's why this is just a fairly obvious and place to go to. You'll want to get these upgrade stones. So here we've got a soul item down to the left. You can see down there is where we came from at the beginning, where those guys that were throwing boulders down on us. And it's important to come through here because this will actually open a shortcut down this path. And it will also allow us access to a very important NPC, which we will meet shortly. So here, want to get this item. Be careful rolling around on these things. Don't get too overconfident and fall off, because you can die from falling off here, obviously. So we're going to go down and meet Blacksmith Ed, who I believe is Blacksmith Boldwin from the Nexus's, his brother.
I haven't seen you around these parts. What does it matter? You need a blacksmith, show me some coin. If not, head straight for the door. I'm busy. I'm not here to chit-chat. Hoarding weapons. What is its character? All are transmogrified sprites. Their presence blesses the weapon.
This guy's great. I love how a lot of the blacksmiths in the Souls game have just this utter reverence for the process of upgrading weapons, the weapons themselves, and the the items that are needed to upgrade them. They just have this almost like religious reverence and fervor about it, which I love. And if you come out here, you can get another soul item, so it's worth your time to get that, which you can turn in for some souls. And so here I was kind of debating what to do. I was thinking, well, should I go back to the Nexus at this point, now that I've unlocked the shortcuts and level up a bit? Or should I forge on ahead? Because one thing you need to be careful about for sure in this area is your weight. Because you're getting all those upgrade stones, you're going to get heavy fairly quickly. But I decided to press on for a bit. Now here is an ambush waiting to happen around this corner. Anytime you see a corner like that, a blind spot, you want to be extra careful. So here I'm trying to throw some of those soul remains, and there, that got his attention. And there's not one but two of them. And I believe at least the first guy of these two he's extra powerful, or at least it seems that way to me. He seems like if he hits you, he can for sure one-shot you. And him and all his little friends here have to die. A little bit of sip of my throwback Mountain Dew, which is, in my opinion, the only true Mountain Dew with real sugar. It's simply delicious. Alright, so here I went around that corner. There's two ways you can go. This is like the shortcut way. See all those guys there at the end of this walkway are just waiting to ambush you had I gone left coming out of that doorway. And as I was talking about earlier with your item equip burden, or not your equip burden, but your item burden, I've already reached that with all the stones. So, and the problem with that is if you don't do something to mitigate that, such as putting on that Herculean ring, that item that I tried to pick up, that steel shield, will actually be gone. If I activate it and don't pick it up into my inventory, I can't simply leave and come back for it when I've gone and dropped some stuff off. So you want to be really cognizant of that, not to do that. And always have that Herculean ring on you. You can drop items in the world to lessen your weight, but always keep that ring with you. That just helps so much. Now the downside, of course, is that I had to take off another one of my useful rings, the Cling Ring, and you can see at soul level 1 I have very little health. So I am going to take these guys out at range, since there's like 8 of them here, which is let's even the odds to make it a little fair here. So this handy crossbow that I got is serving me well. Definitely useful. And you can see the reason I went this way as well is you can see that gecko. Now that last guy there right in front of him, or behind him, is another one of our geckos who have the harder to get, sometimes harder to get upgrade stones. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't miss out on my opportunity to get him. So here I soul arrow him. They're very resistant to magic. And then I decided that it'll just be better off to take him out with. But you want to be careful. That's why I circle strafed around him, not to send him off the edge. And so luckily I handled that good. So there we got the spider stone, some of the basic ones, and also a chunk of spider stone, which is very useful. going back to the item I got earlier in this episode, the compound longbow, we're going to be upgrading that along the sticky path, and in order to do that we need those spider stones. So very good that we got that. That will along the sticky path will, I believe, also increase the range of the bow. So like basically I want to upgrade to a sticky longbow +5 at some point. One of the best upgraded bow pretty much, besides you know, you can get the white bow as well, which is also very good. But that's definitely my favorite, is the compound longbow. And there we just got another pretty good weapon for a strength character, and that was the big club, the great club. A large wooden club enhanced with iron spikes, among the larger weapons which knock enemies back. And so then here, I just decide to drop down. So here I'm looking around, deciding where I want to go, and pretty much that's as far as I wanted to get. The next area pretty much that I'll be going to will be the first boss in this area. And if I go back to the beginning, I can get to that boss from the shortcut there that's by Blacksmith Ed. So what I decided to do here, since the episode's already kind of running long, is decide to end it at this point. Take all these heavy items back, all these upgrade stones, and as well maybe level my character up, right? Because I haven't leveled up at all. I might want to fight this boss with a little bit of more power.
Hello there, souls. Souls. I trade fine goods for souls. Our little town.
So this filthy man.
It's a nice
Are you
place.
local?
All those lizard-eyed townsfolk are busy tinkering with stone. And don't bother with old men like myself. Makes life rather easy for me. I can get away with anything. Thank you, Lord, for this golden opportunity.
So it's interesting how, as bad as things are in this world, it's not bad for some people. Actually think of it as an opportunity. Their lives were such shit before that they actually see it as a golden opportunity, as the filthy man put it.
Well, you've got to pay, don't you agree?
Alright, so again, here's where I decided to return to the Nexus, drop off my 2 tons of weight, and also do a little bit of leveling up.
What is it? Dost thou seek soul power?
And by far, in all the Souls games, my favorite leveling up mechanic would be with the Maiden in Black. I love her dialogue. It's just the coolest to me, upgrading with her.
Soul of the mind, key to life's ether.
So here I'm going to upgrade my vitality, my endurance,
let strength be granted,
magic.
so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended.
Yeah. And magic and intelligence kind of go hand in hand. They both are key stats I'll be upgrading. Endurance is always good to have if you're going to be doing any kind of melee, because it just allows you to do more attacks. There I start to upgrade my strength a little bit, and I pretty much ran out at that point. So you can see, getting to the point where I can use that bow is going to be a while.
And serve the brave demon slayers who are trapped here. I keep the candles lit and serve the brave demon slayers who are
Well, I appreciate you all watching this second episode, and I hope you'll join me for the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.